Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Untethered. Today, we are going back to the theme of the internet is a scam. And with me today, we have Mark Edworthy from England, and he 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 is upset with me because we are running late, and I have wasted his valuable time, and he's been calling me cuss words and stuff. He's been calling me English cuss words, you know what I mean, which is like the nice way of saying that you suck. Um, so, with that, I wanted to kind of let everybody know that we are streaming on Rumble, X, Twitch, Kick, and D-Line, but we are not streaming on YouTube. We might put an upload of it later on if Mr. Robot comes in and behaves himself and doesn't say anything that's inappropriate or bad, that's controversial, that might damage our reputation among the community, because that's very important to us. We don't want to upset the natural order of things. Isn't that right, Mark?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Do you remember where we left off last week?
Yeah, I didn't join you last week.
Or the last time we were talking about the internet being a scam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can vaguely remember it. Something like three, maybe 4 weeks ago now.
Now, we went through, we discussed that we discussed the hackers in the early 1980s first. We discussed the one that was the most infamous was the Max Headroom hack that took place in Chicago, and we discovered that. And then we talked about Captain Crunch, John Draver, where he was phone phreaking, and kind of got into a little bit about phone phreaking, had a conversation about that. But then the one thing that I wanted to bring up too was the fact that like a lot of these supposed hacker arrests that everybody came to believe as being true back during that time period wasn't. Like, they really don't even have sufficient amount of data to say how many people were arrested for hacking, and I thought that was interesting. Then we started talking about the hackers during those times, like 414s, which were a group of teenagers in Milwaukee. And then we got into the more serious stuff, and we started talking about CDK Global. And right there was where we ended up leaving after that, because that had taken up pretty much the time that we wanted to do. And we were talking about how CDK Global was involved in securing documents, making it easier or their job was to freaking what was it? It was to securing documents and everything for car dealerships, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's but anyhow, they ended up getting hacked, and it caused a lot of issues for freaking the car industry. And I wanted to bring that up, and it took us a little while to go through it, because we ended up getting into other companies like Brickfield Business Partners, and CDK Global was involved with them, and that ended up being a hack that took place previous to CDK's hacking that took place. and then Brookfield Residential Properties, which was another incident that happened with them, and I believe that one was the one that was supposed to have involved the Canadian military. I believe it or not, they had a contract with them and they were hacked. And these were all involved in CDK Global. And for me personally, I think it was all inside jobs. You know what I mean? Because you can see where it happened more than once. But we got through all of that, and then finally we're here where we're at now in part 2 of The Internet is a Scam. So do you remember much about the Chaos Crew era, Mark Edward?
Not overly.
Have you ever heard of Lizard Squad?
Not to mind, no.
You know what a Black Hat hacker group is?
Black Hat security penetration groups. Again, you know my loathing for the term hack and hacker in the context you're making. But yeah, I'm aware of Black Hat, so-called Black Hat and White Hat penetration, security penetration.
Now, Lizard Squad was most notorious because they made headlines in like 2014 and 2015. They did high-profile DDoS attacks, including against companies, which included like Sony. They're basically an online group who are known for doing DDoS attacks, which are basically distributed denial of service, is what that means. So, and what they basically do is they flooded, they flooded networks with so much traffic that it crashes, and they're less about like stealthy, and they're more about like public disruption and trolling and things of that nature. So that was one of the groups that I did want to bring up because of the Sony attack. They attacked PlayStation Network in 2014. And they also did Xbox Live with massive DDoS attacks as well. And what they ended up doing is making both of those networks unusable for hours and days and stuff. You know what I mean? So the big question is why do you think they would why do you think they would do that, Mark?
Yeah, I don't like to speculate on reasons. Could be hundreds of reasons, thousands of reasons. Somebody's having a bad day. Somebody has got a grudge against a company. God Almighty told him. Any reason.
Now, the popular story was the fact that they did it for attention and trolling and stuff of that nature. They wanted to like expose security weaknesses, and that at one point they actually went on the internet and was bragging about it on Twitter. You know what I mean? They also did crazy stuff like they tweeted a fake bomb threat at one point. It caused a flight that carried John Smedley, a Sony executive. It caused the flight to be diverted and everything because of it. Eventually, because of that made it to where that it ended up bringing the FBI into the situation. It brought attention to them, so they had to come in and eventually some of the members of the group was arrested. And I don't know if you've ever heard of any of these guys. Have you?
Names wouldn't mean anything.
Well, I mean, have you ever heard of John Smedley? First off,
Rings a bell, but again,
he was a part of Sony.
even if I did take notice of specific names, it wouldn't have interested me in any sort of long-term sort of context.
But see, back then, back during the 2014-15, Sony was a big target because if you remember, everybody considered Sony to be the Antichrist. You know what I mean? They swore up and down. Well, everybody who had any sense. You know what I mean? Like, I know that there are some people who didn't believe that, but I mean, come on.
No.
Huh? What?
I'm not going to comment on that one.
Oh, so why aren't you going to comment on that one? You don't believe that Sony was the Antichrist?
Sony is
You froze. Now, out of all of them, this one guy that was in the group stood out to me the most. It was a Finnish teen. He was a young guy. His name was Julius Kivimaki. Now, this guy was brought into court. He was convicted of over 50,000 cyber crimes, okay? And the most messed up part about it was he only received a suspended sentence for doing all that. Okay, over 50,000 cyber crimes, and he only received a suspended sentence.
cyber crimes. Is that actually a legal technical illegal?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. Yeah,
I don't think it is.
if you want to Google that, go for it. Google that and find out, man. Now the group later,
white collar crimes, fraud. That's cyber crimes. I don't think there is there's no legal definition.
well, especially considering that it doesn't really go along with the actual law that was created for it. Well, this is in Finland too, though. I'm guessing because it was.
Okay, so Finland, that's outside of the EU, isn't it? Likely.
He would have been arrested and tried according to Finland's laws. So that is an interesting thing to think about. Now, the messed up part about these groups is that the group later tried to launch a DDoS for hire service called Lizard Stressor. But even that led to like law enforcement crackdowns. You know what I mean? Now their attacks aren't like really infamous for like freaking data theft, but more or less they were busted for freaking mass disruption. You know what I mean? And